Hey, how's it going? Dylan here. Today I'm going to be explaining anamorphic lenses. I notice a lot of people don't quite understand what anamorphic lenses are and what they do. A lot of people on YouTube, for example, make their videos cinematic by adding black bars at the top and the bottom, kind of like what you see right now. But the black bars you see on the top and the bottom of this particular video, I haven't cropped the image at all because I'm actually filming with an anamorphic lens. Anamorphic is a really cool way to shoot. Quite expensive it can be, but there are cheaper ways you can do it. A lot of your older school movies that have the black bars were probably shot on anamorphic. There's a few ways you can usually tell. A lot of the time, they have very wide scopes and have quite a lot of distortion, so the background, especially in a wide shot, looks kind of warped, especially toward the edges of the frame. Also, the depth of field is very shallow, and the background, the blurred parts, are actually stretched upwards. So instead of circle highlights, you get kind of ovals, which is the bokeh. And really, you should start experimenting with actual anamorphic lenses if you do want that look, because there are some things you cannot recreate with standard lenses. And I'll show you the difference in field of view and things like that. So with an anamorphic lens, it was originally developed back in the 50s, I'm pretty sure, 40s, 50s, 60s, and they basically had a almost square frame on your 35mm film back then, and they wanted to have an extra wide field of view. So basically they devised these lenses, which what they do is that they grab a wide field of view and squish them down into a smaller area. So a lot of information squished right down. And basically what that does is you end up getting a whole lot more information than you would with a normal lens of the same focal length. I'll give you an example. Right, so this is the same focal length with not being an anamorphic. So as you can see, it's much closer in. We lose all the side information basically. And yeah, so this is why I love shooting anamorphic, because you don't have this just simple look. You get a nice wide, even though we get the shallow depth of field. With this particular setup that I have, this lens is a 58mm lens. With an anamorphic lens though, the height that you see from here to here, that's a 58mm field of view. The width from here to here is actually half of the 58mm. So you're getting a lot wider field of view, but with the same depth and shallow depth of field as 58mm. So you can see where there's advantages there. You get a really, really cinematic image for the most part, and it can look quite fantastic and take your project kind of to the next level in terms of cinematic quality. Some things to note about anamorphic lenses and their qualities is that older anamorphic lenses, so the ones you generally tend to use as you start out your career in cinematography and things like that, so cheaper ones, usually they will be quite soft, they won't be that sharp. This is negated by the fact that you're actually taking more information and squeezing it into smaller area. So you're basically, it's like an optical equivalent of super sampling, like with when you record at 6K, for example, and master at 1080p or 4K. So you're getting a sharper image. One of the other characteristics of anamorphic lenses is, apart from the oval backgrounds, like out of focus backgrounds, and also the kind of distortions at the side, kind of stuff gets a bit skinnier at the side, bit of barrel distortion, is the flares, and they're often the most sought after part of the anamorphic experience, which is why a lot of people fake it with flare filters. You can't quite get the real thing, and every anamorphic lens has a different flare and different look to it. They're very unique. For instance, this lens that I use is actually considered quite a clean projector lens that I've adapted on here, and it doesn't flare as much as other anamorphic lenses, but it does have a really nice flare, as I'll show you. So it's like a nice kind of subdued flare with a ghost on the other side as well, you can see like just here. So it's quite nice cinematically. Some lenses, they're meant to be soft, so like this one I'm using right now is quite a soft lens, although you can get some sharp if you stop it down a few stops. Newer anamorphic lenses can be very sharp and really high quality. They're also insanely expensive. You're looking at start around 7,000 Australian dollars, and go right up to like 25,000, 30,000, depending on the model you're looking at. Now, if you're just starting out on YouTube and you want to shoot anamorphic, you're probably thinking that there's not really a way to do it really on your budget. There is, and that's the way I'm shooting right now, is a DIY method, which is used by a lot of people, and it involves using usually vintage older lenses, like a standard lens. Like on mine, I'm using a Russian 58mm lens, and then you source a anamorphic projector lens, which was originally used to project these anamorphic movies in the theaters. Aren't really used these days because they're all mastered out digitally now. So you basically attach that onto your lens with a clamp or glue or whatever, however you want to do it. Align it so it's the right way up, and then you basically have an anamorphic setup. There's two downsides. You can't rack focus. You have to focus on both lenses, so that's a downside. But there are things you can buy for about $1,000 that let you actually focus with one wheel. In my opinion, anamorphic lenses are the best type of lenses. They have a unique cinematic quality, and it's just most of the time beautiful to look at. All the films filmed in anamorphic usually look fantastic, and it's one of the things I look for when I'm watching a movie a lot of the time, is if they used anamorphic or if they copped out and just cropped to a ratio. Now, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because some directors never touch anamorphics, and some cinematographers, and I love them. Roger Deakins, for example, has never shot anamorphic, and he always usually frames at 2:35:1, which is kind of this aspect ratio. He likes it because they're very clean compared to anamorphics, kind of dirty. You know, they're optically, they flare, and they're not usually super sharp. Same thing with David Fincher. All of his films are usually framed in an anamorphic aspect ratio, but they're not shot with anamorphics because he likes the extra control, which is fair enough. Me personally, I'm actually working to just shoot anamorphic, and this is the first video that I'm shooting with just the anamorphic on. I hope you guys like it. I hope the image looks decent, and yeah, I hope you like that little small explanation video on what anamorphics are. Pretty basic, I know, but I want to start out like this. I usually just do movie related videos, so I thought I wanted to branch out into some cool anamorphics. I hope you enjoyed my short explanation on anamorphics. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. I also do movie reviews, thoughts about different things to do with movies, TV, and a few other things hopefully in the future like this. So let us know how you enjoyed the video. Have any suggestions, comments, critiques in the comments below or on Twitter. Let us know. Until next time, enjoy.